Hey, this is Dr. B, Dr. Jairo Borja, president of Borja Consulting Group, networking guru, networking expert, and I hope to enlighten you in a couple of things today when it comes to resumes. So if I could just share my screen, that will be great. Here we go. Okay, so I want to discuss the four different types of resumes. But before I do that, just wanted to give you a little bit about myself, my background here. So my parents are from Barranquilla, Colombia, and my grandmother came in the late 60s, early 70s, and my parents met, and eventually I came about in the early 80s. I am a product of the Board of Education, which I went to elementary school, junior high school, and high school. I went to PS14 in Corona, IS61 in Corona, and I went to Thomas Edison Vocational School in Jamaica, Queens for high school. I was born in Astoria, Queens, and I was raised in Corona, Queens. That you see a picture there of the hemisphere or unisphere, excuse me, at the Flushing Meadows Corona Park, which originally this unisphere was from the World's Fair. I'm a fan of New York Mets. Filming today, April 10th, 2022, 3-1. This is a picture of the old stadium at Shea Stadium. Over here to my right, where the cursor is, I'm a big fan of pro wrestling. Been to 18 WrestleManias, including this past one in Dallas, Texas. So I'm excited. I'm just a passionate fan, right? I do some work with Prospanica. I'm the president of the New Jersey chapter, and before that I was the EVP. Before that I was a treasurer. Before that I was the um, VP for professional development, and I'm also now their director of partnerships and business development nationally as well. Here, as you see here in my cursor here, I am the president of my own organization, Borja Consulting Group, in business since January officially of 2019, and of course, my folks, my main client, friends at the statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey, where I'm their director of grants and entrepreneurship, and I oversee their HETP and LETS programs. And in the middle here, when I got my doctorate in March of 19, this is the actual ceremony in August of 19 with my two beautiful daughters, Emma and Emily, and then with my wife in the back, Sophia. I love them all. So the agenda is going to be real quick, go over the four types of resumes: chronological, functional, combination, and targeted. And then from there, you'll have a gauge as far as what kind of resume would work for you, right? If someone has more years of experience, you might lean towards one. If you're entry level, just starting out, you may lean towards another. If you're transitioning careers, you may lean to another as well, right? So I'm going to go over the four types of resumes real quick, and then from there, the call to action, I just simply would love for you to follow me on social media, right? So here, as you can see with the chronological resume, your name is at the top. Usually right now they don't have you guys do the address anymore because you don't want folks to discriminate based off where they live. A professional summary, it basically summarizes your experience up to today. For example, Cynthia's experience has over 12 years of experience in HR, and basically the next sentence describes what she's certified in, right? And then over here, as you can see, you have the work history in regards to her title is in all bold, her date of employment is here, her organization and then location is there, and then from here, I would just say your resume, the first word should always be a verb or action word, whether it's direct or monitor or streamline or coordinated, right? And then you have to make sure that you describe exactly what you did, but also you should talk in numbers as well, right? Like increase sales by 20% or increase sales by $500,000, whatever it is, right? So quantify what you've accomplished as well, right? So this is more of a chronological resume. Just has your professional summary here, your work history here. If it's present tense, write in present tense. If it's past tense, make sure you put it in past tense, ed or etc. Right? And the skills at the bottom, you could have and this is for keyword purposes. You could also put that. I would also include here somehow your Word, Excel, and PowerPoint as well here. All right, so you're a master at succession planning, you're a master at payroll coordination, master labor negotiations, right? But I would also add here somehow your computer skills here. I would at least, okay, when it comes to your chronological resume. And then from your functional resume, I wouldn't add the address. I would just, of course, add the phone number. The chronological, at least have your phone number and email here. That's one mistake there. From the functional resume as well, as long as it has your phone number and as long as it has your email, that's fine. I wouldn't add exactly where you live, or you could do the neighborhood and the city and the state. I wouldn't do the exact address and basically what you're a specialist in, right? And with a functional resume, it's a little bit different where, again, you summarize what you do here, right? On your areas of expertise, you could then get into reception and customer service, getting into the area expert in scheduling, and you basically summarize what you've done in your positions, right? Whether it's reception and customer service, scheduling and meeting coordination, and administrative support, right? And over here, then you just list your work experience, right? You work from you have your title, your location, and your organization, and the dates here. Your any education involves there, any awards, and then over here is where you have your technical skills on Salesforce or Blackboard or Canva or Canvas or QuickBooks, etc. Right? So this functional resume, I've seen this a lot in my previous life as a career counselor. This is more for someone who's either A, looking to transition careers, or B, has too much experience, because the resume, should be between 1 and 2 pages, maybe even 1 page max. So, and maybe their experience is worth 4 to 5 pages. So in order to condense it down, what you would do is a functional resume to highlight your areas of expertise. And then with the summary, along with the technical skills, along with writing present tense, past tense, you should be able to it should be able to get picked up. You should be able to get some calls, right? So again, I went over the chronological and went over the functional. Okay, here's a combination resume, which is a combination of the two. You have your name at the top, your phone number, email, I guess at least the city and state of where you live, right? You have your professional summary as well at the top, which summarizes exactly what you're an expert in, your experience, and then you highlight your skills right over here, which you have scripting languages, patience, attention to detail, analytics, etc., web design, etc. Right. So what I would do, if a combination resume is great, of course, for those with a lot of experience, but it's also good for those individuals that are in transition, right? So, for example, let's say I went from accounting or business and I transitioned over into health services, right? So basically what I would do is with my skills, I would add, I don't know, vitals or what health service administration, any skill, IDCD 9, 10, 11, whatever coding. If I wanted to transition into that space, I would highlight those skills here. And then I would highlight my internship or externship experience here. And then, you may have to add 1 or 2, as long as it fills the page of your previous experience, right? So again, this is great for a transition resume because you could have the summary, and it summarizes, in a couple of sentences, you could summarize your transition. And then you could highlight your skills, your newly acquired skills that you've learned in the middle, and then highlight your internship or externship there. And that way you'll be able to get phone calls, and I think you'll be taken very serious, right? So again, to kind of recap, chronological, straight up, straightforward, straight up summary, your skills at the bottom, and then your work history, obviously from the most relevant, from the closest, most recent backwards, right? That's chronological. And a functional resume is more of someone who has a resume 3 to 4 to 5 pages, right? And is able to has to condense to 1, maybe 2. So you highlight your areas of expertise and you just list your work experience there. Okay. So that's the functional resume. And the combination resume, I highly recommend for someone who's in complete transition from one vertical, one industry to the other. Again, you write the summarize of how you've gotten to this point now, and then your skills, highlight, especially your newly acquired skills, and then your work history, which you could highlight the internship at that point. Then the last one is the targeted resume, which is straightforward. You have your name here. You have the objective, right? To obtain a role in HR, obtain a role in this, right? Where your skills might be utilized, right? And again, you just have your most recent experience and work your way backwards, right? And then you have, if it's past tense, you make sure it's in past tense. If it's present tense, is in present tense. You have your date, your organization, the location, and then in italic, your job title. Okay, and then your education, you could highlight that you went to, I don't know, in this case, Naya College, right? You have your Bachelor of Science, and you can highlight your GPA or if your dean's list or president list, you can highlight that, and then your qualifications, I would add here as well, as far as your computer skills, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and the reason why you list these, because what happens is a lot of the application tracking systems, they pick up keywords, right? So if you're applying for a manager role, you have to make sure that in your resume you have director, manage people, manage budget, things that'll pop up based on the job description or based off what the recruiter is looking for, right? So this is where you highlight the qualifications, and I would even add if you're bilingual and or any Word, Excel, or PowerPoint at this point, right? I would not do the address. I would just do the city, state, zip, email, and phone number. Okay. All right. So that covers a targeted resume as well, right? So hopefully by now you'll be able to really dive into the four types of resumes, and at the end of the day, use the one that fits your strategy, and it's okay to have more than one version, right? So if it's a transition resume, you may want to go with the combination one, right? If you're looking to perhaps still dabble with in your current vertical, you may go targeted or chronological, right? So it all depends on what works for you, right? It all depends on your situation as well, right? If you're looking for a lateral move, you may go chronological or targeted, right? If you're looking for a complete transition, you may go combination, right? Or functional, right? If you're just looking to stay in the industry but have so much years of experience, you may just go functional, because you don't want a resume that's 4 or 5 pages long. Okay. All right. So hopefully, you don't have any questions, and hopefully this was very informative for you. And I highly suggest you guys follow me on social media at Borja Consulting Group on Instagram, at Dr. Jairo Borja on LinkedIn, and on Twitter at Borja Consulting, and of course follow our Facebook page for the course Transforming Your Way to Success. Right. So hopefully this was a very enlightening for you, and hopefully now you have a better understanding of where you're at when it comes to your resume. And I wish you the best of luck in pursuing an internship, and or if you're looking for employment, whether it's you're in the industry or you're looking to transition into another industry, right? So I wish you the best of luck, and let's stay in touch, right? Let's stay connected. I am the master networker. I have a book, Networking Way to Success. I have a couple of courses, Transforming Your Way to Success, Transforming Your Way to Success 2.0, and I also have the Art of Networking Framework online course, right? So highly recommend you check out my website at www.borjaconsultinggroup.com. So with that being said, I really appreciate your time today. I really appreciate Professor Carol Dyer being able to allow me to speak to you guys today. All right. So take care and keep on networking like a pro. Take care.